Mother love me long time, long time. Sucky, sucky, fucky, fucky one time.
Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. This is Amelia
and Veronica.
And today we're gonna be watching Irrational Man.
Yay.
This is a terrible movie and we're dead inside.
Yes. I just want to add that I'm very sad that Joaquin Phoenix is in this movie, and I hope we can all, while these credits are playing, stand silent for the funeral of his career because of this.
Yes, indeed. These credits are almost 1 minute long, all black, no song, and I have never been more bored in my entire life. If this doesn't tell you the quality and the excitement of this movie, nothing else will.
I feel like it was 1 minute long, so people could have the chance of getting out of the movie while they still could.
One last final sign.
Yes.
Pay attention to this song because it's the only song you're gonna listen to for the entire movie.
Kant said human reason is troubled by questions that it cannot dismiss, but also cannot answer. Okay, so what are we talking about here? Morality, choice, the randomness of life.
Abe is the kind of character that is the result if you put two subreddits in a blender, which is I am very smart and I'm 14 and this is deep.
Indeed. I hate him.
He's the most obnoxious and meaningless characters I have ever seen in my life.
And he's such a shameless self-insert. I cannot even...
This is a fan fiction for Woody Allen and
Yes.
you cannot change my mind.
I can't believe Woody Allen was so fucking shameless that he does this fucking shit. It's awful.
Gabe was crazy from the beginning. Was it from stress? Was it anger? Was he disgusted by what he saw as life's never-ending suffering? Or was he simply bored by the meaninglessness of day-to-day existence?
If your day-to-day life is meaningless, either you have depression or something, go fucking sit at fucking therapy. But if it is meaningless, it is your fault because we are the people that put the meaning into life. And this guy is like, oh my god, I'm so fucking deep. Life is meaningless. Everything is the fucking same. Fuck you if you're bored your fucking routine, dog. Go, I don't know, go to the fucking gym. Do something.
The thing that annoys me so much about this movie is the absolute glorification of being a complete asshole and ruining your own life.
Exactly. Like, self-destruction isn't cute.
It isn't a personality trait, sweetie.
Yeah.
You're killing yourself, Jessica.
You're so damn interesting.
Also, you're gonna notice a lot in this movie that everyone just has internal monologues about Abe's interior motives.
As if he's like the most interested thing in this
Abe
fucking town.
is a rock star in this movie,
Yeah.
and I don't know
He
why.
reads Facebook posts and then recites them so fucking dramatically that everyone is like, holy fucking shit, is he like Jesus?
Bruh.
Bruh.
Join of the faculty this summer.
Really? That should put some Viagra into the philosophy department.
He's this really interesting guy, but he looks totally wasted.
I kind of like him.
Is Abe Lucas on the local tabloid or something? How does everyone know so much about his life? No one cares so much about the life of a philosophy professor.
Abe Lucas is teaching my ethical strategies class for summer session. Have you read any of his papers? He's very radical, very original. You either love him or hate him.
Faye Cohen knows someone who knows him. She says he had a serious depression when his wife left him. The story is she ran off with his...
I mean, it is one thing for students to like gossip about professors and shit, but like the parents are talking about it. Everyone is fucking talking about it. Like,
if you're in the field of philosophy, it's fine, okay? Some
Yeah,
people
it's
are,
one thing.
Yeah, some people are more famous than others. It's fucking okay. But I've never seen 3 girls gushing over a man that hasn't even arrived at a college yet.
friend.
Really? Because actually, what I heard through the rumor mill was he had a breakdown when his best friend was killed. He was a TV crew guy in Iraq and he got beheaded. Isn't that gruesome?
I love fetishizing personal tragedies.
It's true.
Jesus, I haven't even met the guy yet and I'm already jealous.
Jealous? I love that you're jealous.
I love when characters blatantly express their emotions and thought processes by dialogue. What? I know jack shit about music, but all I can say, this is the most repetitive piano tune I have ever witnessed in my life.
And it's so fucking repetitive that it hasn't stopped. Fucking stop. Fuck. Give me a break.
Jessica Paul is?
Yes, Joseph Paul is that.
Is this man pregnant?
Dr. Reed? Oh, Professor Lucas. Professor Lucas, welcome to Braylon.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
Yes.
I'm sure you've had a long trip.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Thank you.
we've just concluded our spring semester, and summer's always very active at Braylon.
One thing you're gonna notice is that besides Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone, every other actor and actress just delivers their line in the most awkward and soulless way possible.
And I don't fault them. I mean, look at the fucking script.
Yeah.
Who the fuck can pretend they're human when the script doesn't even behave like a human?
That's true.
Yeah.
Fair point.
But like, I feel very sorry for all those actresses, staff, everyone that put their heart into it, because honestly, it is a lost effort.
Yeah. This is our official apology letter to everyone involved but the director.
This is it. Now, the faculty housing is pretty much spread out, but, you know, everything you can get to, it's within walking distance of the campus. And you're really going to like Newport. It's beautiful here, but it gets a little crowded in the summer. That can be a drag. It's a small house, but it's really comfortable.
Abe Lucas' belly looks like a subplot from an Indian soap opera in which someone pretends to be pregnant to steal someone else's money. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Now that you said this, I'm low-key expecting at any time to someone just starts playing a Bollywood sort of music and dancing. What the fuck?
This movie would have been 10 times better if every transition was a Bollywood one. Just screens crashing, thunder, lightning, rain, everything.
It would certainly be more entertaining than this.
This movie it's about Abe Lucas and how amazing the philosophy department is, to the point at which is the central point of the city. Everyone knows it.
Yeah,
Even the real estate agent is like, I think you're loved here. Who do you know who I am?
Yeah, and like, Woody Allen is so fucking competent by writing a fucking script properly that he has to make the characters state those things instead of letting the audience know, because he doesn't know how to make things like more ambient, you know? And one thing that I like you guys to notice is that the color scheme doesn't fucking change throughout the whole movie, and that gives me, sleep paralysis. Okay, first thing first, I doubt that any college like does a cocktail party for a new professor.
I think it depends. Like, if you're actually the best in your field, like, if you're, let's say, in a science department, it's the guy who's, like, pioneering cancer research.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
like, he'll have a bit of clout. But, like, come on.
But if you just talk about Kant as if, like, it is the easiest thing... No. Yeah.
Certainly, most people are not that interested in philosophy.
And not only that, like, I don't get why people are so, like, nonchalant about him drinking. Like, he offered the drink for the... What is...
Real estate agent.
Real estate agent. And she was like, he. Bitch, what the fuck? Don't give me a fucking drink, I'm working.
This man's giving a class inside a chocolate bar. Changed my mind.
Ooh, Willy Wonka is shaking right now.
He's coming for your brand.
Lying. And even the smallest lie destroys his precious categorical imperative. So Kant would say if a killer came to your house looking to kill the man hiding upstairs and asked where he was, you'd be obliged to tell him. In his perfect world, you couldn't lie.
I can see the logic that if you open the door, even just a crack, you accept the world where lying is permitted.
Okay, then you'd say if the Nazis came to your house hiding Anne Frank and her family and asked if anyone was in the attic, you'd say, yeah, the Franks are upstairs. I doubt it. Because there's a difference between a theoretical world of philosophy bullshit.
Just so I can say that I didn't just roast this movie for nothing, I feel like this is a pretty good scene in which you can actually expose the character's moral relativism in a way that is not so in your face. At least this is coming back eventually. Like, we're not gonna give everything away, but there's a point in which he has a moral dilemma, and the way that he justifies it is very...
Relative.
Yeah, it's very relativism. They just could have used this better instead of every character having an internal monologue about how amazing Abe is and how he can do no wrong.
Yeah, this movie could have a lot of potential if only the movie would be centered around his classes, and essentially every debate that he has on his classes and ends up reflecting on his own personal choices. That would be very interesting.
Yes.
But I guess Woody Allen couldn't fucking think for 1 second to get that idea.
Go off.
Out tomorrow. You know, I asked him if he wanted to eat with us.
I like the guy, but he
likes to eat a lot.
Discount Mean Girls.
Hi, you wanted to see me?
Yes, your paper was quite good.
Really?
Yes, I read so many papers, and usually the students are merely paraphrasing what they've read, but I found your thinking fresh and well presented.
I just would like to praise this scene because at least the actors, they're being able to put a little bit more of a humanity in the lines and everything, so it's a little bit more natural.
They're working with what they got, and it's not a lot, so we're just praising them.
They're doing their best.
They're doing great, sweetie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bite lip.
I bleak for me. It's like there were no redeeming joys or pleasures.
Okay. Well, why are you taking philosophy?
My problem with his character is that there is some traits that could lead to a solid foundation. Like, I don't have any problem with just deep existential problems in characters, depression, all that. But there is nothing else. It's like two-dimensional. There are two main traits. He's an alcoholic and he doesn't know any meaning in life. And that's it.
That's the same fault that shows like 13 Reasons Why have, because all the characters have are their disorders or their flaws, and a person is more than that. You may have depression, but you have interests. You have perhaps a will to have a will in life. So
it's like someone Googled misunderstood genius, read the first thing that popped up about it, and tried to create a character based on it. But there is nothing. There is no humanity in there. It's just two traits and a lot of quotes about cunt, like, in a person.
The difference is save the world, but when you see what you're up against, do you like vintage single malt? You drink?
You mean here? Right now? No.
I would like to comment again about the fact that people just react with nonchalantly when he offers them drinks. Like, what the fuck? She's like, oh my god, he's such a fucking bad boy. I love when
she actually like stepped back a little and she was like, what, here? But it was that. Like,
she was like, but I feel like her here was like, Teehee, you're such a bad boy. I can't believe you're drinking on campus.
Wait, that's illegal.
Oh my god. So fucking hot.
There was no way I could have realized from that first conversation that a lot was very wrong with Abe.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
I was a handyman in a building. I ran an elevator, but I always read. I always loved the Russian writers, especially Dostoevsky.
It's very, very subtle that he talks about an author that has a book about murdering people. Just like in his class, he gave the example of a killer. Wow, this is so subtle.
Are we detecting a theme?
Alright, hey, I can see where this is going.
Oh, stop it, please. He's just fascinating because he's brilliant, but he's a sufferer.
Perfect, great. You always became attracted to the sufferers, right? That's how we first met.
He's a real sufferer, Roy. You had shingles. He was traumatized when his best friend was killed in Iraq.
This is the kind of thing your therapist tells you you're doing. Very little people, or very few people, are aware that they're going after people who are in deep pain for some weird reason. You just don't tell that to your boyfriend. He's fascinating because he's in pain.
Yeah, it means stop fetishizing pain. Suffering isn't fun. Nobody likes to fucking suffer.
This is the only trait that he has.
Yeah.
He's in pain, he's
a
sad
boy.
That makes him so fascinating.
Oh my god, I bet if there was TikTok in this fucking movie, he would be doing like a e-boy shit.
Oh my god. Abe Lincoln full on e-boy.
Oh,
with striped t-shirts.
face. Oh my god, he would do like the Ahegal face.
No.
While lecturing.
I'm calling the police.
De Beauvoir pointed out, and quite correctly, that in a society shaped by men, women are seen as relative beings existing only in relationship to men. You agree with that?
I agree with that completely.
I find it very ironic that they're pointing this out while this whole movie, all female characters are shaped by Abe Lucas and his choices. That's so fun. Like, she's literally obsessed with him.
Every female character has the main trait of being completely and wholeheartedly obsessed with Abe Lucas, and that is all.
I'm sorry for dropping in so suddenly, but I was shopping today at the liquor store and I came across these two very fine bottles of single malt.
This man is the most clearly alcoholic man I have ever seen in my life, and this woman goes and buys him more drinks. Okay.
Scotch, and I got one for Paul and myself, and I know how much you love single malt scotch.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you. How much do I owe you?
Oh, God, no, I bought it for you.
I bought it for you so you can fuck me in the ass.
Demonetized.
And down there and stayed for 6 weeks. He said the problems were completely overwhelming, and the political red tape and corruption was just a scandal. He couldn't believe the amount of stupidity and greed.
It was a scandal for George Bush.
Well, Abe was right there in the thick of it, trying to get something accomplished. And meanwhile, his wife was falling in love with his best friend.
Even if, like, my best friend sat me down to tell me all about her life, everything that ever happened, ever since she was a kid, I wouldn't remember it with full detail like she is right
And I
now.
wouldn't tell it with so much emotion and fascination in my voice.
Yeah, like, and why would I tell her
To
life story to my parents? Yeah.
dinner.
Can you believe that? Abe really, really loved his wife. They met on a...
I want someone to remake this movie only with Ben Shapiro.
And the love interest could be PewDiePie.
Bruh.
And maybe the boyfriend could be Steven Crowder. I feel like that could be great.
I would watch the shit out of that.
That would be fucking entertaining. Imagine every fucking class of this.
Every
is like-
internal monologue.
It's like, oh my god, the fucking lip tarts.
No, it's like, but I didn't care about what she said because facts.
Don't care about
What's
your
the feeling?
feeling. Instead of offering boost to students, he will offer facts.
Now this is epic.
Oh my god.
I've never seen a de Kooning in a private house.
I know. So my parents got it at auction. They're just starting to collect. They're buying so much. They got a Katai and a Warhol at Sotheby's like last week. I know.
April, honestly, are you afraid of getting robbed?
No. I mean, the house has alarms like all over.
Show them what your father keeps.
No.
Come on, show them. It's
I'm not
more
gonna
interesting.
show it
What
to
are you
them.
so proud of?
Oh my god. Oh my god. You do this like every time you come over here. It's so weird.
We get it. With the painting, it's fine. The painting's all right.
Okay.
This is the dumbest exposure and scene progression that I have ever seen. It's like, if the scriptwriter had an idea of point A to point B, but he didn't know how to get there, so he was like, let's have a little bit more of non-human conversation.
For the burglars.
The fucking burglar kills you because you're a fucking dumbass.
That leaves the fucking loaded gun on the fucking open.
What's Russian roulette? What? What's Russian roulette?
Here, let me see this.
Don't like guns. Just be careful.
Abe, you guys.
Put the gun down. Put the gun down.
What the hell are you doing, Abe?
He's doing you all a favor.
That's funny.
I mean,
Abe, put the gun down.
was it worth the risk?
Well, not a 5 to 1. Here, 50-50.
No.
Stop it!
Stop it. Stop.
If you want to kill yourself, go to the chem lab, swallow cyanide. Don't do it in front of us.
This is an existential lesson better than in the textbooks.
The thing is that, like, I really do like this scene, and I feel like it could be a very, very strong scene if the plot overall was better executed.
Yeah, and I feel like this scene could work a lot if the movie started from it. Like, could it be a great character examination and presentation for the viewer, and we could essentially just got what Abe Lucas was coming from, that he didn't care about life and shit, and he wouldn't even have to speak.
Yeah. And not only that, but his lack of empathy of just trying to kill himself in front of other people that he doesn't even know. We could have got every monologue that we had so far in a scene of like 5 seconds.
And I feel like this scene would be even better if he didn't like, oh, this would be a great class of existentialism, because we already got that from his actions. So that's the problem throughout the whole movie. We can get things from the characters' actions that gives to us way richer conclusions about the movie rather than the character explaining to us each step and each thing that they're thinking.
It's problems. You know, it's really a shame because he's so self-destructive, but he's so brilliant.
Yeah, he's so self-destructive, but he's so brilliant.
It's so fascinating to see a person slowly healing themselves.
There was something about his pain and sensitivity that tapped into my romantic fantasies.
The amount of times that she says and thinks that is driving me insane.
It was exciting going to museums and seeing movies with him. He was truly an original thinker. The problem was, he had no zest for life, no joy, no clear reason for living.
I mean, I get it, Woody Allen, you're a pedophile.
Again, as she said about the color coding and the cyclic atmosphere, that could all work.
The intention of the color scheme always being the same was to showcase the sort of claustrophobic feel that Abe got to life. That would be brilliant. It would be very interesting, but I doubt that was the intent because, I mean, if you consider the lack of brilliantism that the script has, I doubt he would think of something like that.
And I feel like I could get into Abe's alcoholism if I continued to watch this movie.
You say things like that. How do you know that?
I set out to be an active world changer and wound up a passive intellectual who can't fuck.
Well, Abe, maybe Rita Richards couldn't get your creative juices flowing, but did you think that maybe I could?
I feel like if we got like an exposure of how artificially perfect her life is, and she got in contact with this guy who is unapologetically imperfect and damaged, we could understand from the subtext alone why she would be so interested in a man like that.
Not only that, it could even be a more even interesting movie because it could be morally ambiguous. Like, does she love him because he's something different that she never got?
Mm-hmm.
Or does she love him because she's fetishizing his problems and wouldn't allow him to get better, becoming an enabler?
It would be more interesting than just listening to Abe Lucas go on and on about the meaningless of life without actually pointing anything else out.
Yeah, and as I said, life is only meaningless if you don't put any meaning to it. Every meaning that we have is something that we create. We created meaning in nature, created in religion, created different explanations here and there. We are always searching for meaning, so in a way, life just becomes meaningless once you don't have anything else to live for, or you just can't find a meaning in there.
Yeah, and we understand that, like, clearly he's a very depressed character, and people with very deep, sad clinical depression
often have this difficulty.
Yeah, they just can't seem to find, you know, a meaning in life. We understand that, but like, it's just so poorly executed that it just comes off as a very cruel caricature of people who are actually suffering in their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, so this is Veronica Post Editing, and Emilia and I already talked about everything that we wanted to about this movie, and now I'm just going to summarize the plot just because, and I'll also finish off with some other thoughts that we had. But essentially the plot is that Abe Lucas gets the idea of murdering a family judge so he could essentially solve the problem of this random woman that he eavesdropped her on the cafeteria talking about this family judge. She was mad about him because her husband was getting the custody of the kids. So Abe Lucas, being the dumbass that he is, instead of, you know, considering that maybe their husband could be on the right, or maybe killing the judge wouldn't do much because she would just get a new judge on her case and she might as well lose again. Regardless, he decides to murder him because he goes on this tantrum about how wishing that he would be dead doesn't do shit. You just need to do it yourself. So he goes and he kills the judge. He gets cyanide in the lab, in the college lab, and then he gets, and then this woman just finds him there with this attire that Amelia had a lot to say about.
You can't, number 1, walk around with your lab coat open. Number 2, when you're dealing with toxic materials and chemicals, and anything really, you cannot just go around with short shorts, because if that falls on your legs, you're fucked. And you just don't go on a chem lab with your hair down. And just no protective measures whatsoever. There's no gloves, no masks, no eye protection. There is nothing. She's not even wearing pants. And this is not slut shaming. This is scientific shaming. I hate this.
And then after her discourse that you guys just heard, he goes on, and then he essentially observes his routine, and then he goes and finds out that he always runs and gets the same orange juice. So he gets this orange juice and he essentially changes the cups. He trades them, I guess, and the cup that he gives to the judge without the judge noticing, because he was too busy reading a newspaper, because apparently he doesn't have a fucking peripheral, I don't know, field of vision. He just changed the cup, and the judge just drinks it all up and dies. And then, after all that, people just don't stop talking about it, and they even go to this dinner with Jill's family. Jill is the chick. Where they just, start talking about the murder as if they were there, and they start essentially guessing how it happened, and Jill essentially deduces perfectly how the crime happened, and Abe Lucas all there sitting all smug. And then after all of that, Jill finds out that he killed him, which, Abe Lucas never used a glove with the orange juice. I wonder why they never thought about searching for fingerprints on that cup. Regardless, they also get surprised that they did an autopsy on the judge, which is really weird because autopsies happen all the time because they need to fill the information on the obituary. But okay, regardless, I'm getting off topic. So all of that happens, and then Abe Lucas goes in to solve the problem of Jill wanting to essentially be a snitch. He goes and kills her, but he fails immeasurably, and he falls to his death. But the fall is very flimsy because the way that it sounds like he fell on the 3rd floor, and that would probably break his leg. Not necessarily kill him. But regardless, that's my summarization post-editing now. Please enjoy our final thoughts on the movie. And yeah, thanks. I mean, this movie was completely bullshit. At the end of the movie,
she's just having an internal monologue, looking out at the beach in the most cliche way.
And then she goes back to her cuck of a boyfriend, and then that's it.
The end.
Yeah, that's awesome, I guess.
I don't have much to say. It was a terrible experience the first time. It was even worse the second.
I feel like the first time we were a little bit more insane about it because we couldn't believe what our eyes were perceiving. But at the second time, all I could gather from this movie is that it's insufferably long and boring. And Woody Allen, what the fuck? Who gave you fame, bruh?
Who hurt you, man? It's just...
Yeah.
Again, there is so much possibility in this movie. It could have been amazing, could have been great. But it just wasn't. Everything was so mechanical. It's like this movie was written by a robot, an algorithm on how a mystery should be. It has no notion of what it is to have a human psyche. It has no notion what it is to create characters with motives and wants and dreams. Everything is one-dimensional.
The problem with the movie is definitely the pacing of the plot, because everything is so chewed up and given to the audience, there is no time for us to think about what is happening. So with that, the plot essentially renders itself insufficient to essentially complete the whole movie. And because of that, the pacing ends up being so fast and slow at the same time, because they need to fill up space with useless scenes that don't give anything to the plot, because the plot was already badly explained by every character there is.
I feel like the intention of this movie was to guide the spectators into going behind what Abe is saying and saying maybe he has a point. Maybe they want us to have an internal dilemma or whether it is moral or not to kill if that benefits other people.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler, it isn't. And it just fails miserably at that. You just have an insufferably annoying professor thinking that he's the smartest man alive, babbling on about how he's so self-important that he gets to kill other people based on one coffee conversation he overheard. It's pathetic. It fails at every aspect. And then you have a horde of fangirls going around him just
As
saying...
if he's like the next Justin Bieber or something.
Yeah, he's not that amazing. And every other character is just bland.
The thing is, it would be fine if he had admirers. It would be fine. But the movie doesn't give us a reason for him to be admired. He's insufferable. He's an arrogant. There is nothing to admire about him.
They just want us to get into face value. Like, he's really smart.
He talks about originality, and about how students only paraphrases other philosophers, but that's all he does.
That is the great irony of this movie. Maybe it's what we missed all along. Maybe this movie is a huge prank and we failed miserably.
If it is, I would admit it. That was brilliant. It's a great hoax, but it doesn't seem to be that way.
It's not a prank, bro.
It's not.
And, okay, let's just say it is for the sake of argument. You still have to say that it's a pretty shitty movie. And the dialogues are shitty. The sequence of events is shitty. It just feels bland, feels a boring movie. And if it's a prank, if it's supposed to be funny or supposed to be ironic, it failed as well. It fails as well. So yeah.
It got a reaction out of us, but it wasn't a good one. So yeah.
Preach it, sis.
Yeah, so that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and yeah, bye.
Yeah. Goodbye.